The Western media completely ignoring the multiple massive deadly attacks by Ukraine last night and today against civilian targets in Donetsk and Zaporozhye. The shelling was far and wide, guys. Some of the shelling that happened overnight in the early hours of this morning happened for an hour and a half. Consistent shelling in Zaporozhye, hitting residential areas specifically. These were the targets. There's no military significance to hitting these other than terrorism. That's exactly what this is. And last night, these shells raining down on Donetsk, which, of course, Donetsk, if you've been following it, this is what's been going on since 2014. Nonstop genocide, terrorism attacking residential places since 2014. So if someone doesn't understand how this war started, it started here. It started back in 2014, killing multiple civilians. The city has been targeted, according to these reports, by the forces with heavy artillery, rocket fire, according to local officials. Ukrainian forces subjected the city of Donetsk and its immediate vicinity to artillery, multiple rocket launches fired on Sunday. The attacks killed 3 people. They damaged all sorts of civilian houses and infrastructure, buses. The shelling targeted exclusively residential areas of the district. No military targets in sight. Shelling damaged at least 2 residential houses, debris hitting all local art school, shattering windows, damaging its entrance. 9 other residential houses, bus stops, buses damaged also. Who are you hitting when you shell a bus? Can anyone tell me who you're hitting when you hit a bus? I'm sorry, Russian soldiers are not using buses to get to and from the battlefield. 2 women were killed also in the city of Makivka, located immediately to the north of Donetsk. The city was hit with multiple rocket launches, at least 5 projectiles hitting residential areas. Disturbing footage also. I'm not going to show it to you here on the show because it's awful. Shows victims walking side by side, and then they hear this like incoming projectile, like old women, and they try to take cover. The rockets hit in the middle of the road, and they just like shred the women to pieces.
On Friday, the U.S. Army's Chief of Staff grounded all pilots who are not involved in critical missions. They have been asked to complete required training after 4 helicopters crashed in a matter of weeks. The U.S. Army Chief of Staff ordered an aviation stand down after deadly helicopter mishaps claimed the lives of 12 soldiers. The move grounds all U.S. Army aviators except those participating in critical missions. Active duty units must complete the 24-hour stand down between May 1st and 5th. And National Guard and Reserve units by May 31st. 2 AH-64 Apache helicopters collided in Alaska on Thursday. The mid-air collision killed 3 soldiers and injured a 4th. Last month, 2 Black Hawks crashed in Kentucky, leaving 9 dead. There have been multiple other crashes of U.S. military aircrafts in recent years. A few months back, a Black Hawk crashed, killing 2 Tennessee National Guardsmen during a training flight in Alabama. 4 U.S. Marines were killed during NATO exercises in Norway last year when their Osprey aircraft went down. 2 U.S. Navy pilots were rescued after their T-45C jet crashed during a training exercise in a residential neighborhood near Fort Worth, Texas in 2021. The pilots ejected before the plane went down.
Today, the president announced the U.S. is sending nuclear-armed submarines to South Korea. For the first time in decades, this is, of course, coming as tensions with North Korea rise. White House correspondent Kayla Tausche is in Washington on all of this for us. Hey, Kayla, so why did the White House decide to send these nuclear defense systems to the region now?
Well, Savannah, there's a sense that the nuclear threat from North Korea is only growing. So the U.S. announced that it would be sharing more intelligence with South Korea and also providing more military assets on a rotating or temporary basis. President Biden said in the Rose Garden, it's all about deterrence.
Our mutual defense treaty is ironclad, and that includes our commitment to extended deterrence, and that includes the nuclear threat and the nuclear deterrent. They're particularly important in the face of DPRK's increased threats and a blatant violation of U.S. sanctions.
Since the war broke out between Russia and Ukraine, scores of nations have put sanctions on Russia in a bid to weaken its economy and put an end to its invasion of Ukraine. In the latest attempt to hamper Moscow's bid to invade Kyiv, a plan made by the United States to end all G7 exports to Russia has been met with a roadblock as part of the negotiations ahead of a summit of the world's most advanced economies. According to a report filed by the Financial Times, the European Union and Japan have pushed back against the U.S. proposal. EU and Japanese diplomats say Washington's proposal is simply not doable. The statement includes a pledge to replace the current sector-by-sector sanction regime against Russia with a complete export ban and only a few exemptions. The full export ban would include exemptions for agriculture and medical and other products. Meanwhile, the proposal made by the U.S. comes amidst Washington's rising frustration with the existing system riddled with loopholes, allowing Russia to continue to import Western technology.